Hello, welcome to today's HR Huddle. And with me is Renee Moelders. Thank you, Renee, for joining me today. Renee and I thought we would pick up on a conversation we had on an HR Huddle back in December as we were planning, for some closed time off and holidays and all that was happening then. And, how do we just really prepare to take time off and communicate that and make sure our team and clients are set up. And in those situations, many of us, we're all taking the same time off or similar time off. Like for us, we close between the Christmas and the week after New Year's holiday, but we're all off, and we really try to commit not to email each other and really be off, so we don't have this expectation that I need to respond to anything. Now we're into vacation season. It's summer, or it's almost summer. I'm pretending it's summer, like it got green here in Minnesota. And I know I have a 2-week vacation, coming up, and our partner Jennifer is about to leave for Italy. And, Renee's planning a summer vacation. Plus we've got more holidays coming up. So we thought we would just talk about some best practices that you could explore and say, how could we help people feel like they really could take time off? That's one of the things that we hear all the time in our leadership development programs is, I don't really feel like I can take time off, or I need to bring my laptop with me. And I do, but we really try to commit, I'll check in on Tuesday and Thursday. Other than that, unless it's an emergency, you need to text me. But how can we have people really feel like they can take time off? And it does take some planning, and it does take some communicating. So we thought we would talk about, some of those strategies that we employ and that we coach, the people that we coach to employ, so they feel like they can really take some time off and re-energize, which we think is so important for our mental health, our physical well-being. So Renee, I don't know if there's a place you want to start this topic, but I'm gonna let you jump in here.
Yeah, totally, Tamera. So the first time I went on a long vacation, or it was coming up, I remember Jen, I've been working for Convergence this is my 9th year now. And she would, maybe 6 weeks ahead of time, she's like, okay, so now let's talk about how you go on vacation. And I was like, what do you mean how you go on vacation? And she's like, oh, there's a process to it. And so she taught this whole process to me, Tamera, which no one had ever really coached me through before. And I realized now it's somewhat from a selfish standpoint that she wants to be sure that we're planning well before we go on vacation, because what happens if we don't? All that stuff just rolls back onto the team or onto the clients, or people get upset. And so she wants us to plan that and plan that well. And so we documented that. I did for a blog, and we'll definitely share that down in the link, and we'll also talk it through. But just interesting, that like there's a protocol for it. And the protocol starts by planning way ahead. So like, for instance, my vacation, you were talking about, we're all going out this summer. I have a couple of days off here and there, but I'm taking a full week off in August. And so probably sometime here coming up pretty soon, it's almost June, I need to start thinking about that and looking ahead. And I probably already have, Tamera, because as opportunities come in for projects or engagements, it's on my calendar. Everybody knows about it. We all put our vacation on each other's calendars so you can see it. And so we've already been having conversations about, well, but that's coming up around the time of your vacation, Renee. So is that going to work? So we're already like kind of in the loop internally about it. But pretty soon here, we need to start getting in the loop externally and telling our clients about it. And you're going to have to do it too for your 2-week vacation. That we need to start getting it into our email signature. And as we're talking to clients, like you and I are doing a vision retreat this fall, we'll need to say, each of us is going to be out during August. And so we're going to plan meetings around this. And we're going to, when Tamera's out, you're going to talk to Renee or vice versa. But we're like getting the external world in the loop about the fact that we're going out in August, and they need to know about it. So I think that's the first step, is like communicating about it internally. And what happens to my coachees, Tamera, is that they don't talk about it, and they are hoping that they're just going to be able to slip out maybe, and nobody's going to notice. And then, a client has a failure and we have to go back out there on the audit, and the partner's like, well, so you're going out, right? And my poor coachee is like, no, I mean, I have a week off planned, but they end up having to do that work because they haven't really communicated with the partner, with the client. When they see things slipping, they haven't said, I'm a little bit concerned about where this is headed, because remember, folks, I'm out of here in 2 weeks and going on vacation. So they're just like, they're not raising it. It's like they're trying to sneak around and go on vacation. And there's no sneaking around under the convergence model. It's very transparent. And we say in our, like, if you look at Jen's out of office right now, it says, I'm going to Italy with my husband. I mean, who would deny her that trip? And that's what we do. We share what we're going to be up to. Our clients are excited for us. Now, obviously, there's a bunch more steps here. We plan so that they aren't negatively impacted, but you get my point. There's no sneaking around.
I love that there's no sneaking around, that we think that we just sneak out on vacation and then come back and nobody will notice. And we all know that that's not how that works. So that transparency, scheduling it, first of all, telling people you scheduled it, putting it on your calendar and others' calendars, like Renee said, and then making sure it's like in your project, it's in our project planning. We have a very simple project planning methodology right now, but whatever that is, that it's in there, you're talking about it in your scheduling meetings, you're talking about it, with your clients. And so I think that is super important. And then as you're looking at, okay, we're going to be out. What do I need to have done? What do I need to have reviewed? Who's going to need help? What are the things that are going to come up? It feels like everybody wants to clean their desk and get everything over to you before you go on vacation, which is one of the reasons we want to be sneaky about it, Renee, is I'm going to be sneaky because I don't want you to empty your desk and give it all to me to have to review before I go on vacation. And so we have to just really manage that and look at that. But I'd rather know in advance what that might be so that we can prioritize it and schedule that. And that's what we're doing right now. With Jen, we're saying this can wait. This needs to get done before. And we have a list. And so we're in agreement about that. We're talking about what the priorities are. There are a little bit of negotiations, happening around that. And then Renee's and our vacation is going to schedule overlap a little bit. And so we have to manage that. We have some joint clients. We have some other clients that are not joint. Plus, we're working on some projects together. And so we have to say, here's what the schedule is. Ideally, we're looking at it and saying, okay, we're going to get it this far. And then our team can do this, or the client can do this while we're out. And then we can come back and it's still progressing. It's not like everything stalls and stops and waits for us to come back. So, looking at that from our timeline and our, process, I think will help in that people will know what to expect. I'm going to start another topic, Renee, and then you can jump in or take it wherever, but it's making me think as I'm saying that. The other thing that we do is we make sure that our team knows, what to expect so that they know what needs to be covered. Like we do a handoff, and maybe you can talk more about the specific handoff itself, and I'll just set it up here to say, we talk about, Renee and I are working on clients together, or Caroline might be my second on the leadership program for seniors and supervisors. She knows what my schedule is so that she can plan communications I might need to review, or the materials that we need to review for that program. And so that she's not, left in a lurch as well. But then also people know who to contact regarding that leadership program for seniors or that vision retreat. Renee and I will have, Emily will be our contact for that. And so we tell the client that, we tell our internal team that, so if something does come up, they know exactly who to go to. And so I think that part of coordination and team approach to our projects and our clients is important as well. But identifying who's my second on that while I'm out and who can you go ask questions of is important, that somebody else is in the loop and is able to navigate that. So planning for that and anticipating that while we're bringing people along is important too.
Yes, that's so true, Tamera. And it brings up all these thoughts in my mind about, so the handoff email. Yes. I mean, when we're going out, we send a handoff, and it's like, I'm on my way out the door and I'm like, here's my stuff. And it's not like my usual work to do, because it's the projects and it's the internal things that we have going on. And it's where, like, the status, and then who has point while I'm gone. And personally, I try to get mine as stable as I can. Like I'm hoping that as much as possible is sleeping while I'm gone. Now, there might be some stuff that's working while I'm not here. And that reminds me of the word asynchronous, like ideally other people can be working when you aren't so that we can sort of maximize our coverage. But you have to have like really good understanding of where everything stands, and they can't need you. So like I've got to push all my stuff over to the other side, and they have to have what they need. If it's Caroline as the coordinator of the program, if she needs review of something, I'm not going to be here to review it for her, Tamera. So you see what I'm thinking? Like I have to have some things done before I go, and then some things she can work on without me. And I have to do that thinking about where does stuff stand and how do I get it ready. And personally, I usually do my handoff on the plane. If I'm flying somewhere, especially if you're going on a longer vacation and you have a long flight and you take your computer with you, which sometimes I don't, so then that's different. But I might be doing it on the plane and wrapping things up on the plane. And then my goal is to shut my laptop when we land, and then I don't have to touch it. Yeah, right. So that's what I'm really aiming for. The other interesting thing that it brought up for me is when we leave our homes, because you and I travel for work. And so you were at the BDO conference recently, and you had to leave your family for 5 days, and they have to be able to operate without you. And there's a bunch of people here on the HR Huddle who are like, leave my family to operate without me. And so you can do a handoff. You can do the same kind of thing. You try to get things organized and taken care of the way that you usually do. And then you have basically a document that says like, Ariana has to be here on Tuesday, and Randy is taking her, and Nick needs to pick her up. Like it's a schedule of events. Now, my kids are teenagers now, Tamera, and they manage that stuff themselves. They manage their dad. So it works better. But when they were littler, I mean, that's what I did. And we had the nanny too. And so I would have like, see spot run, and I would leave it in the middle of the kitchen counter. And then they didn't call me the whole time, freaking out, texting me about who's doing what by when. And it's the same kind of thing. It's like the vacation handoff, the leave your home handoff, that you can leave and actually go and enjoy your conference and not be texting like, no, you're having burgers for dinner. Like they have all the information that they need mostly. And that's what you're aiming for in both cases.
Yes, I love it. And that handoff document is so important. And we do it in email. It's an email, that we send. We might type it and print it and put it on our kitchen table. If it is for home, yes, I do the same thing. And it is a little bit easier with teenagers, but sometimes not. Sometimes they forget things.
They want to forget too.
Or they want to forget or pretend, oh, mom's not out, she won't notice, because she's really the one that pays attention. Dad doesn't notice. Dad doesn't really know what's going on. So they might play a little bit of that, but and our team might do a little bit of that too. It's like, Renee's not here, she won't notice. Caroline, when we can push that or whatever it might be. But I think it's important to, have that handoff. We should have a handoff with our clients too, especially our major clients or any major prospects, sales opportunities we're working on, and internal projects. We don't have to have everything. I mean, there's just going to be some stuff that's like moving, but what those are, right? And so the client, here's my handoff. This is where we are in this vision retreat. I'll just use that because you gave that as an example. Here's where we are. Here's what you're going to be doing. Here's what Emily's going to be doing. Here's what we're going to do when we get back. And we have a call scheduled on this date. And then we just make sure that they have what they need, that Emily has what she needs. And then we, go from there. And so if we're updating some of our self-study courses right now. I hope they're done by August, but let's just pretend our timeline says that they're not. Here's what's next. We're going to be doing pilot testing and, timing for NASBA for CPE. And here's the forms and who's managing that process. And then when we get back, here's the next steps. And here's when we're going to meet again to do that. And having that planned out and defined, and we've talked about it, creates confidence and trust that it will be okay. And that's really what we want to impart. And partly for me, so I can let go, but partly for my team and for my clients, so they can feel like they're taken care of and that they have, what they need. Sometimes we have some big proposals or prospects that are out there. We tell them, We don't hide it. We're not being stealth about it. I'm going on vacation. Here's what's next in the process, or here's what I hear who you need to meet with and talk to. If you have questions when and it comes up, Renee will be available. She can answer those questions. Otherwise, I'll be available on this date. Let's plan on touching base on that Friday when I get back. So that they know. Again, it just makes it seamless. Also, that's our first encounter with, working with this company and with these people. For them to see that we're thinking about it and planning, through it, they're like, wow, we haven't really had that experience of somebody, first of all, being that transparent, but second, that you're doing the thinking and planning and communicating so that I know what to expect. And this is what you can count on in our relationship, if you choose to engage with us. So it's actually a very positive experience. I think we worry about, like, I'm supposed to take vacation, but like that sneaky keeps coming up, Renee, that you said, like I'm not really supposed to have, that vacation. We all need vacation. So I think that's important.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing that you're pointing to there, Tamera, is in our culture, we are a very high performing culture. We push each other really hard. We challenge each other. We're always stretching and growing and trying to do a million things. But when it comes time to take a break, we will protect each other to the nth degree to get each of us out and able to take a break. Yes. And I love that about our culture. And I don't think some of my clients have that same culture. And so, we could just have a big pity party for our coachees who are in that situation, or they could be 100% responsible for working this system and to seeing, like, if they can start to create a ripple of change around, look, I'm going to really powerfully go out here, and carefully plan everything, and everybody, here's what I'm doing. But when I'm gone, you will not be able to reach me. I'm not available. Emergencies only, text me. And, and they might say, well, my culture doesn't support that. Well, maybe you're going to be the first one to make it happen and get things so organized and ready and be so transparent that it works. And then others will be like, wow, how'd you do that? Well, here's the blog. Here's the HR Huddle where Renee and Tamera talked about it. Now you try it. And maybe you can change your culture from the inside out to that, making it okay to go out. You should be able to do that. And really, we shouldn't be calling people and texting people when they're out. We should be avoiding that. And we're such great champions for that on our team. We'll say, listen, Tamera's out. Do not go to her first. If you need anything, come to us, the partners, and we'll try to figure it out first, because we really want to avoid bothering people when they're on vacation. And we might say, well, I don't mind. I'll take a text or two. But I mean, really, isn't it nice, Tamera, when you don't get bothered at all while you're on vacation and you get to decide?
Well, and sometimes I do worry. I'm like, I wonder how that's going. But I have to refrain also. That's the other thing. I have to refrain from getting in there and checking email, or I have to refrain from, trying to further something, right? So sometimes it does take that discipline to really let go. But when you do, it is so rewarding. And I think as HR professionals, that is something that you can help build, like this protocol or this framework around, to say, how can we really support people having time off? Everybody should have at least one full week off, whether you go somewhere or not. That you have some time, downtime to re-energize, do whatever your favorite things are, or go to your favorite destination, spend it with the people that you love to spend it with. And so HR can help to, drive that and, shift the culture. If we need to shift the culture, one of the places you might need to shift the culture is partners need to take the time off and
be a role model
be a role model and go dark. You're right. And like I said, I get wanting to get in there and just clean up email or respond or whatever, or we give our cell phones to clients and we've trained them. It's okay to text us any time of the day. And we have to be diligent and say, I am going to be on vacation. Here is my contact while I'm out. Otherwise I will respond to you when I get back. And you can say, I know I've been responsive and this is our relationship that we have. But we also know it's important for us to be a role model, and also for me, for my health and my mental health, to re-energize, to be able to do that. So we want to set that, role model. It is okay. And if we do the planning in advance, you will build that confidence. This can work. it really is the confidence building exercise to see, hey, this can work. This can actually happen, and we can take that time off. So.
And Tamara, one more thought on the like working when I'm on vacation. I do sometimes clean up my email. I usually do it from my phone. I don't try not to open my laptop, but I don't write any emails to anybody. It's just like going in there, cleaning up, trying to keep it so that I don't have 1,000 emails when I come back. And maybe, but not even trying to stay in the conversation, like looking for the easy things to clean out.
Yes.
Because I hope my team's going to get me back in the conversation when I get back.
Yes.
And I have a client, by the way, who, when he goes on vacation, and he likes to go to Portugal, so he's going overseas for extended periods of time, 2 or 3 weeks, he assigns a staff person to his email. And he says to the staff person, listen, you have to be triage and manage and, you know, get help from the other partners if you need it. And when I come back, I'm going to delete all the emails that happened when I was gone. And it's up to you to bring me back into the conversation. So I see your eyes widening, and it's like, it's hard to picture how you would do that. But he's not coming back to 1,000 emails. He's
Right.
not, you know? And so I want to try to figure out how to do what he's doing because, you know, wow.
It's a lot. But
Yeah.
we could take some pages from our, you know, European counterparts and how they take time off, and, you know, they culturally, this is how they operate, and life goes on, you know, the business keeps moving, clients are taken care of, projects are forwarded, and your family will appreciate it, or those that you're traveling with, or those that you're on vacation with will appreciate you doing this as well. So, and we do have some tools, and Renee has a blog that she wrote that we'll include in here. And so if you have any questions, or if you have protocols that you've implemented to really support people taking time off, and it is vacation season. By the way, the first step, even before communicating it where we started, make sure people have something scheduled. So I might need to back up there and say, go make sure everybody has something scheduled. Talk to your, you know, partners or your, you know, pod leaders or group leaders, and just say, make sure, does everybody, including you, have at least a week schedule between now and the end of the year that you're taking off? And then, you know, practice some of these protocols and sharing it, being transparent about it, putting it in your email signature line, you know, having it be part of your project planning, communicating it with your client, making sure they feel completely supported and taken care of. And we look forward to hearing, you know, how that went for you as you progress through the summer. So thanks for being with us today. Awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun, Tamara. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.